Hello, and welcome to Fundamentals of People Management, Module 1. I'm Dr. Lon Schiffbauer, and today we are going to talk about what is people management. Our objective today is to develop an understanding of what people management is, its roles and responsibilities, and what it takes to be a successful manager. Let's begin by talking about management and people management. So, management. We know the word, but let's take a moment to define it. Management is the process of organizing people, sometimes referred to as human capital, and resources to effectively and efficiently accomplish organizational goals and objectives. Now that's management, so what's people management? Well, people managers are responsible for guiding and supporting a team of individuals to accomplish these organizational objectives. To be a successful people manager, this involves inspiring and empowering these individuals to reach their full potential while contributing to the overall success of the team and the organization. All right, so there's a definition of people management, but now let's talk about what this looks like in action. In practice, people management includes tasks such as recruiting and selecting talent, fostering a positive work environment, promoting collaboration and communication, providing coaching and mentorship, resolving conflicts, and facilitating professional development. Now, there is a construct by which people managers accomplish the objectives we just discussed, and this is through the 5 functions of management. The first of the 5 functions of management is planning. Planning is the conscious, purposeful, and systematic process of setting the strategies, priorities, objectives, goals, and tactics to be pursued by the organization. For people managers, this means establishing departmental strategic objectives based on the organization's larger corporate mission and vision. Based on this, managers can then forecast personnel skills and needs. The second function of management is organizing. Now, an organization is a collection of people and other resources brought together in a formal structure to accomplish a common goal. This means delegating responsibilities, authority, and accountability in a way that is goal-focused, efficient, and effective. Third, we've got leading. Leading and inspiring people to bring their very best to the organization is at the heart of people management. This means recruiting, selecting, training, developing, and retaining the people, skills, and talents necessary to meet the current and future organizational needs. The fourth function of management is directing. Directing means ensuring that the different parts of an organization are working together effectively and harmoniously toward those common goals. This entails more than just simply providing direction and supervising. It also includes leading, coaching, motivating, and inspiring employees to perform at their very best. Fifth and final is controlling. Controlling means monitoring progress against key milestones, measuring performance against key performance indicators, and taking corrective action to ensure that the goals are met. This includes maintaining discipline and making constant adjustments to the process to help the organization meet its targets while ensuring optimal resource allocation. Now, one thing we should bear in mind is that, yes, these are distinct functions and they kind of look like they are sequential, but this really isn't the case. They are all happening simultaneously. So it's not like we do one, then the other, then the next. We are always overlapping and intermixing each one of these functions as we manage our organizations. Think of each function as maybe a dial. You have all of the settings turned on, but each dial might be set slightly differently depending on the situation at hand and the problem you're trying to solve. So we now have an understanding of what people management is, but why is it important? It may sound like a ridiculous question, but let's dig into this a little bit. At the end of the day, an organization is exactly that, a collection of people and resources organized in a particular way to achieve a specific outcome. This means that thoughtful, deliberate intent must guide how these resources are organized. After all, without this deliberate intent, without people managers, there is no organization. Managers mean the difference. Okay, so this is what it means to be a people manager. But if it's so straightforward, why are there so many bad managers out there? Well, I'm going to give you my top 5 reasons why today's managers really struggle. The first reason is the profession is not really well understood or respected as a distinct skill set. Folks figure, well, anyone can manage. How hard can it be? Yeah, it's actually pretty darn hard. This gives rise to the Peter Principle, elevating to one's level of incompetence. Now, I'm going to tell you more about that after the second reason, because the second reason is when it comes to retaining talent, it's a lot easier and cheaper to just promote someone rather than give them a pay raise. So let me explain how this works with the Peter Principle. Let's say that you are a really awesome salesperson. You're killing it, right? And so the company comes along and says, you know what, you're doing really, really well as a salesperson. We'd like to have you be sort of a team lead over these other salespeople. All right, so now you're a team lead, but you're still doing sales, so you're still doing really well because that's your core skill set. So then the company comes along and says, you know what, you're astounding. We are going to make you the full-time manager over all of these salespeople. Well, now we have an issue. What made you successful as a salesperson are not the skills that are needed to be a competent or great manager. And furthermore, you are now raised to a level where you're actually not killing it anymore. Because remember, you're a salesperson. And now that you're a manager, you're kind of struggling. You have been promoted to your level of incompetence. This is the Peter Principle. And yet companies do this because, well, heck, it was a lot easier and cheaper to just promote you than it would be to give you a raise. This brings me to reason number 3, the perception that hierarchical seniority equates success and advancement, overlooking the success one can have in their sphere of expertise. So remember the salesperson I was telling you about, they are just bringing in the dough as a sales representative. And so that's their sphere of expertise. But there's this idea that if you're going to advance in your career, you have to be a manager eventually. Why? Why do you have to be a manager? Well, that's the overriding expectation in organizations and with individuals and so forth. And so we advance people to their level of incompetence rather than giving them the additional training and support and resources they need to continue to kick ass in their sphere of expertise. Now, if this weren't bad enough, we then have reason number 4. Many managers are expected to be individual contributors as well as people managers, spreading their efforts and energies way too thin. So, this salesperson who was made a people manager because they're so amazing and so forth, well, they're struggling as a people manager, but then the company might come along and say, but we still expect you to maintain your book of business. We still want you meeting with clients and doing sales and so on and so forth because they don't want to lose that incredible sales representative resource. So then which are you? Are you a salesperson or are you a people manager? You can't do both, but many companies feel that you should be able to do both. And then finally, not super related to all the other reasons, but nevertheless one that comes up, personal goals of power, influence, and prestige can often overshadow those of team performance. In other words, a manager might put their own advancement, their own career objectives ahead of the performance of the team. They're climbing the ladder, they're schmoozing with the right people, they're kissing ass where they need to kiss ass, and they're making those political alliances and meeting with stakeholders, all in an effort to advancing their own career versus doing the job that a manager is supposed to actually do, which is support the team and help the team be totally awesome. Okay, so now we know what a people manager is, and we understand what's kind of getting in the way of a lot of folks being successful people managers. Let's now take a moment to discuss what does it take to be a great people manager. First, interpersonal skills are very, very important. I'm talking about things like verbal and written communication, empathy, the ability to facilitate conflict resolution, and then coaching, mentorship, and people development. After all, an organization is an organization of people, and people are, well, people. We are emotional, intelligent, community-based beings. We need to be part of a collective. We need to feel like we have a place in the group and that we are adding value to that group. These interpersonal skills allow managers to really bring the best out of people and to help them feel like, you know what, I've got a place here. This is where I really want to bring my very best performance. That brings me to relationship building skills, things like leadership, team building, adaptability. Individuals are individuals, but you know what? As good as we might be, we're not as good as we can be when we are part of a performing team. And so a good people manager knows how to facilitate relationship building, bringing people together such that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. But then, of course, we cannot overlook professional and strategic skills. I'm talking about things like critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, and time management. At the end of the day, the purpose of this organization that we're building, an organization of individuals brought together in a team, is to meet organizational objectives. And this means making hard decisions, managing time, and thinking about problems critically, and solving these problems in a way that can really advance the organization. A superb people manager must have these skills. And that brings me to the last one, organizational awareness. You notice I've kind of built from the individual to the team to the larger organization. Well, now we need to look at the larger environment. A good people manager has an understanding of the business as a whole, its operations, culture, structure, and the external environment in which it operates. So this means understanding the competition, understanding the customer, understanding your value proposition, understanding how you deliver to this value proposition, and where the industry is going in the future. This is pretty big picture thinking, but even an individual people manager needs to have these skills. And so there we are. If you feel like you have the beginnings of these skills and are prepared to develop them into something really awesome, then this is the course for you. This is exactly what we're going to be doing. We are going to go through every stage of the employee life cycle and talk about how managers can facilitate greatness with their employees. So if this sounds good to you, then stick around. All right, thanks a lot for joining. And until we talk again, have a fantastic day.